Hey everyone, it's Talia here. Welcome back to a Halloween nail art tutorial on this channel. I wanted to show you guys these really cute Halloween nails that also glow in the dark. I'm also going to spend some time talking to you guys about what happens when stamping does not go the way that we planned, and I'm going to show you guys in this video quite a few kind of hiccups that I had with this particular nail design. So let's get started. I have filed down her previous set, and we're going to take some of Fusion's clear base after her nails are all prepped and ready to go, and I like to do a thin layer of this down before I do any sort of coloring. We're going to be using quite a few of the Fusion color gels in this particular tutorial, and I do like to embed, well, the majority of my gels, but especially Fusion because they are a builder gel consistency and designed to be embedded. So I do want to make sure that I have a nice layer of clear base down before I go in with any of my colors. This color that we're going to use is called Witches from Fusion, and it is this really nice orange sparkly glitter gel, and it also glows in the dark. So we're going to put this now all over her pinky fingers and her thumb fingers. In this particular design, I didn't want orange to be the focus, so I find if you put it on your pinky and your thumbs, it's not the primary focus of the nail design, but it does add a little pop of color that we can tie in other colors down the road too. Many times when I use a glitter gel, I do like to add some chunky glitters on top of it, but with this particular glitter gel, I found that it looked really nice and concentrated on its own. China White Glows from Fusion is a really nice kind of milky white color gel, but it also glows in the dark. So for this particular nail design, I wanted it to be the background of her pointer finger and her middle finger, so those ones would also glow in the dark. When you're working with this particular color gel, I do find it to be a little bit cloudy, not super pigmented. It's definitely more of that milky white finish. So I like to do it in two steps. Because it is a builder gel, we want to make sure that we're floating it on the nail and getting it as concentrated as we possibly can. But once it's cured, I like to go in with a second coat on top of it and kind of paint it on. This will camouflage any of those cloudy coverage design areas that we have. But also keep in mind, we are going to do some stamping on top of this, so if it is a little bit shadowy still, it's not the end of the world. It's okay. We're going to fix it down the road. My favorite black is from Light Elegance, and it is their black tie. I love the consistency of this. I love how pigmented it is. I have no problems with it curing. It's hands down my favorite black to use. Now, it does not glow in the dark, so this will be the only nail in this nail design that does not glow in the dark after we are done. Going to encapsulate all of my colored gels here using some Fusion SL Clear, and after the finish file, we're going to go into some of our nail art. My client had such a hard time picking from the new Clear Jelly Stamper Holiday Halloween plates, so she actually picked basically all of them, and we're going to do a different nail design on every single nail. So the first one that she picked was this ghost one, and it stamped really well at first. Like, I really liked how the white went down. It went really nice over top of the black. I was really impressed with that. Now, when I went in to stamp the eyes, I had such a hard time lining up the eyes. It wasn't even funny. I'm not sure if I was having an off day this day or what was going on, but I just could not figure out where the eyes went. I actually ended up stamping on a piece of paper to try and practice while my client was sitting there, just to figure out where the eyes went. So if you guys are struggling to line your plates up, I suggest doing maybe a practice one on some piece of paper just so you can get a feel as to where it goes. So what I was finding is I was trying to line the eyes up with like the middle of the image because that's where it was on her nails, and I needed to find a reference point. So the reference point that I'm looking for is the top left corner. Once I found that, I was able to easily line the eyes up on the particular nail. I decided to do the individual ghost images on her other ring finger, and I did have some white transfer that I was unable to remove from the stamp. So when that happens, I just take a Q-tip with a little bit of acetone on it to remove it. This doesn't happen very often because I do like to use my finger to remove any sort of stamping that is left on the stamping head before I transfer it over. You're going to use this Halloween plate next, which is the skeletons at the top corner or top middle here. My client really liked these ones, so we decided to stamp them in black, and you're just trying to find where the black is going to line up so that you can fill in the gray skeletons on top of it. Now, if I could go back and redo this design, I'm not too sure if I would pick gray as the second one. In all honesty, I would probably just do them both black because I think it would pop a little bit more. My client did want some spider web images, and I thought that would go really good on top of the orange ones. And I really like the idea of spider webs kind of coming out of the corner of nails, which is what I decided to do on her pinky. And then I'm also going to use the little spider image here and stamp a spider on this particular nail. On her thumb, we're gonna go in with this giant spider web because it is a bigger palette for us to work with. Because these nails glow in the dark, the spider web is really gonna pop. Next plate we're gonna use is the Halloween number 36 one, which is an witch's stamping plate. I liked the idea of using these kind of cameos on her pointer finger and having like a witch silhouette popping through it. Now, I did have to make sure that I was removing a little bit of the witch's feet so that it would fit in the silhouette as well. The middle finger on her left hand, my client really liked these witch's brooms and witch's hats. And once we stamped them as they were meant to be stamped, we didn't like how it looked with the brooms and the hat in the middle. So we decided to try it another time with it being just the one witch's hat and the one broom. And we also didn't really like how that turned out either. So we decided that we were gonna do something different on her middle fingers anyway and do some of these little characters, which are a lot cuter. With images that require a lot of multiple layered stamping that you're not sure will really line up properly, I like to stamp the outline first, and I like to stamp it in a color that matches our background. So we stamped it in white first, and then we're gonna go in and stamp all the little individual pieces. So we do the brains, then we do the eyes, then we do the eyelids, and then we do the black outline, and this kind of brings the entire design together. On the middle finger on her other hand, we decided to do the mummy character. So first thing I'm going to do is stamp the white outline so I can line up my bandage and my eyes. Now I ran into quite a few errors and troubles with this particular one. So I thought I would do the eyes first. Then I realized that I needed to stamp the bandage first or else the eyes won't pop on it. So I'm going to go in with the beige color and stamp the bandage. And then we're going to go and do the eyes on top of it. Now the main trouble that I ran into was stamping the outline. Because it's a very liney image, you do want to take the time to line it up properly, but you also need to work quickly or else you're not going to have full-on transfer, which is what you guys are seeing here. The entire line images did not transfer because I took way too long to line everything up and it dried rather quickly. So with this design, it didn't overly matter because I found that if it looked a little bit liney and didn't line up properly, it actually added to the particular design. But you do want to make sure that when you're stamping, you are working quickly, and lined images like this one are kind of tricky to line up. So again, I would recommend doing some practicing on some paper just to make sure that you're lining up before you even go in and transfer. The last few designs that we decided to do was a little pumpkin on her pinky finger. Because we did spider webs on her other pinky finger, we decided to do the opposite on each of the hands. So again, we did spider webs on the one thumb, so we're gonna go in and do these little bats that kind of look like polka dots on her other thumb because my client really liked that design. Our last step is to top gloss the entire nail design. Now, because some of these particular nails have quite a bit of polish on them, I do like to suggest that you're doing 2 coats over top of it. This way it seals everything in properly, and it also helps prevent any of that separating as well. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video, and I totally had a brain fail here. As you can see, that giant hair that is driving me nuts when I'm editing this. It also drives me nuts when I'm editing the picture of it. Totally a fail in this particular moment, but you know what? We're all human. So I wanted to show you guys what the design looks like when it glows in the dark too. I love that the entire design glows except the black. I kind of think that looks kind of neat because it adds a little bit of extra dimension to it. So thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Make sure you're following me on all of my social media. Comment below and let me know one of your stamping fails, so hopefully I can put together a video to help you guys in the future with any sort of stamping help that you need.